Alright, so this is Disobedient People News, okay? This video is without prejudice or I am without recourse, okay? I'm going to reserve all my rights. I'm not an attorney nor care to be an attorney. I'm not going to give legal advice. Why? Because I'm not an attorney and I don't care about being an attorney, okay? I'm above the bar, not under the bar. I'm not with the bar, okay? So everything I say or do is my opinion only. And it can be a teaching moment, right? And this is basically a video kind of promoting and teaching another deal of way of looking at things, right? Why? Because we don't never look straight forward, people. We always look around us, be able to protect ourselves by any means necessary. We love our life. We love our liberty. We love our property. And we love to protect all of it by any means necessary, okay? Alrighty. These people right here, I don't watch them near enough because I run around with my head cut off, y'all. And I don't get to just stay on one particular deal. However, I wanted to bring this up because two of these guys I know. One of them in the middle, James the Patriot, I don't know anything about him at all. Alright. So I cannot give him yay or nay praise. Alright. However, the two outside of the boxes, they took law in their own hands. They studied law on their own free will. Well, they didn't do it free will because the government went after them and they're fighting back. And the attorneys was not doing their jobs correctly. So they filed bar complaint grievances on them and turn around and study the law themselves. And so they're doing this on their own, and it's, well, easily said, they become self-governed, and they became age and majority. All right, they are not wards of the court. They did not bow down to the courts or to the attorneys. Anyway, they are actually doing what you call the legal way. I tell you about legal and lawful, right? But legal is a really good thing. Also, the trick is learn how to use the laws they have for us against them. All right? But they also create policies and all this kind of stuff against themselves. And you got to access that and force it in there. Because they do not like to accept it willingly. That's the reason why you hear clerks, well, we can't accept this and all that. Huh? So you act as my attorney? Yes or no? Well, we can't do this. Well, no, you had to do it. And if you can't have me do it, then by gosh, you're acting as my attorney and you're giving me legal advice. Now, I need your full name so I can file a complaint on you. Alright, let's go. Enough of me yammering.
I think we are now live. Let me catch you, Tubo.
Okay, by the way, if I don't think I don't know anything about Alfonso's live stream. I don't know if he has one or not. Not saying he does or doesn't. Okay, I just haven't seen it yet. Come across it, but I do know this guy on according to my video, it's on the left-hand side. I'm on his YouTube channel. Obviously, on the signs on the bottom, Alfonso is on the right-hand side. Okay, let's go.
We're here, and I'll do a little introduction.
Yeah.
And we.
Sorry, y'all. To spell it out to you on his YouTube channel, if you want to look him up, so we'd be absolutely clear, because I don't know how this video is going to turn out. All right. Capital THE, capital BIGSIB. Okay? Alright. Look him up because he is really fantastic. And he actually shows you documents that he's making and all that, by the way. And if Alfonso actually has one or something like this, then he would be doing the same thing. Again, I don't know anything about the James Patriot.
Got a bunch to share today, guys. Each one of us have different issues going. as we move forward through the court's processes um, with different motions and things of that nature. But I want to start off with an idea for people just to kind of plant it in your mind before we move forward. What COVID was supposed to do was bring us into full-blown equity, a forced equity system. Okay, that's what COVID's intention was. And when I say forced equity, you can think about the Bolshevik Revolution and like the hideaway they like to talk about, the fascist regime of Hitler, but we never talk about Mao. We never talk about Stalin and things of that nature. But we can visually see objectively with our eyes the cultural Marxism working, and people just doing their job, so to speak, right? I'm just doing my job. It's my job to steal your property. It's not personal to you. I'm going to steal your home. It's just your. It's just
not against you. It's not against you. It's against your property.
Yeah. That house pissed me off.
Why don't you trim your stinking grass, Alphonse? Your grass is might be tall because of that.
Well, yeah, and it's just asinine. It really is.
Listen, I'm going to steal your car, but it's not an action against you. It's an action against your car.
Right. And so this is a couple ideas that I shared. And this, guys, is just to set the foundation before we move on. This is something I wrote for the Crow Show. This is what I go over. And what's funny is in the Crow Show, I talk about the let me turn my mic down. I may be a little loud. I talk about in the Crow Show about the truth of the adversarial system. Not any of this abstract ideas and this poppycock and everything out. But the truth is that the rights that compromise the adversary system include personal autonomy, the effective assistance of counsel, equal protection of the laws. This is a big point right here. Trial by jury, the rights to call and to confront witnesses, and the right to require the government to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. And without the use of compelled self-incrimination. The judge tried to get you to incriminate on yourself Tuesday. These rights and others are also included in the broad and fundamental concept that no person may be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. A concept which itself has been substantially equated with the adversary system. Now, I'm going to go to a comment by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. If nobody's ever read the books, The Gulag Archipelago, I advise you should when you get some time. There's a few books I'll give you that you should probably read. Frederick Bastot's The Law is another one. We're going to read a quote from that also. Commenting on an equity-based communism legal system in the Soviet Union, Alexander wrote sardonically, that means tongue-in-cheek, sarcastically, right, mockingly, on the threshold of the classless society, we were at last capable of realizing the conflictless trial, a reflection of the absence of inner conflict in our social structure, in which not only the judge and the prosecutor, but also, this is a key point, also the defense lawyers and the defendant themselves would strive collectively to achieve their common purpose. So we'll talk about this. I'm going to let Alphonse have the floor first here in just a minute. But one of the key things that I heard was not that it was a clown show, but the judge for a private attorney stating that the private attorney was an officer of the court. Now, that's a huge problem in our adversary system because that private attorney is in an adversarial position and is not providing any admissible evidence onto the record, and the judge is sitting there as a biased and partial arbitrator sitting there saying it is so because it is so. That's not how our system's designed to operate. This system, the adversarial system with due process law, is worth fighting for. The common law right to face your accuser and to enter an unbiased and impartial tribunal which operates in theory to protect the truth is something worth fighting for. However, we're not only fighting each other at this current time, we are also fighting identity politics that have entered the courtrooms. And I'll finish with this right here, guys. I want legal plunder can be committed in an infinite number of ways. And I just want everybody to know this book was written in 1850. by Frederick Bastat, and he writes this. Now you tell me where we're at in this world. There are an infinite number of plans for organizing: tariffs, protection bonuses, subsidies, incentives, the progressive income tax, free education, the right to employment, the right to profit, the right to wages, the right to relief, the right to the tools of production, interest, free credit, etc., etc. And the aggregate of all these plans, and to respect what they have in common, legal plunder. And it goes under one name and one name only: socialism. It's communism. When plunder becomes a way of life for a group of men in a society, over the course of time, they create for themselves a legal system that authorizes it and a moral code that glorifies it. So, people discuss about the system. It's never
And designed to brainwash we the people.
the system that's actually in there making idiotic statements like your judge made in your case, Alphonse, when he actually stated the asinine quote that I heard him say that, well, this has nothing personal to do. We're bringing this against you. We're bringing this against your home, and it's illogical. It's unreasonable, and there's no reason why this so-called judge is sitting up there able to make any decisions. Now, take the floor, Alphonse, and go off.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Listen, I knew what was going to happen before I walked into that court. It's a given that there's no way you can grant that motion for a couple of reasons. One, it would destroy the entire Pennsylvania local tax system. It would literally destroy it, okay? Because anyone could take exactly what I did and just file the same stuff. So they can't let that happen. So what you watch is, listen, the way motions work is, you got to have a party. He's got to bring witnesses in to support anything he filed as an answer. He can't sit up there and argue a motion. So I said, per Rule 602, he's got no personal knowledge of anything. He's not a witness. He can't come in here and argue a motion. So really what you witnessed and why I put that up there, listen, this is flat out sedition. What you listened to Tuesday, that was sedition. Okay? Mm-hmm. You got an attorney. Here's how this process works. Here's what they're doing. It's not just to me they're doing it. They're doing it to everyone. They're doing this in every state. So the attorney, who, quote, is an officer of the court, according to the judge, he forges a lien against you called a municipal claim. Okay? He files it with the court. But he really don't file it with the court. He files it with the Office of Judicial Support. That's the support staff for the court. So the clerk, who is not a court employee, the clerk does not work for the court. The clerk works for the county. She's a county employee. So a county employee who's got no judicial power whatsoever takes that municipal claim and turns it into a judgment. And they'll say, well, no, it's not a judgment. Yes, it is a judgment. They'll send you a thing, that the paper, it says, pursuant to Rule 236, a judgment has been entered against you. You've had no due process. In other words, you've had no chance, opportunity, or a chance to defend this beforehand. They just did it, okay? So before I ever had a chance to challenge the court's jurisdiction, which I did months ago, the reason we had this hearing the other day is because the attorney asked for a continuance because he was on a vacation. He was busy and he was on a vacation, so he asked for a continuance. So what he does that morning, he has me serve what's called a writ certiorari. That writ certiorari comes within the municipal claim and tax lien law. So in other words, he's already jumped into the statute. He's never proven that it applies to me in any shape or way. Okay, can't even prove I'm a taxpayer. Can't prove I have real estate. He can't prove anything for that statute. Yet he's moving in that statute already. Him and the clerk are moving in that statute. I've got a motion before the court before it's ever heard. I get served a writ saying, and here's what a writ certiorari is basically: give us an affidavit on why this claim is not valid, or why or part of the claim is not valid, or we'll send the sheriff out to seize your house. Okay? So before you've ever had a chance to challenge jurisdiction, they've coerced you into this process. And if you heard that at the end, towards the end there, when I said to the judge, he said, well, you're the petitioner. I said, this court doesn't have jurisdiction. He said, well, you're the petitioner. I said, I don't have any choice in this matter. I got an attorney forging liens, and I got a clerk acting like a judge. I said, I said, I got remedy in federal district court. I said, what remedy do I have here? When I got a guy forging liens, and I got a clerk acting like a judge. That's no due process, no trial by jury, and yet I got served a writ that morning claiming that if I don't pay them or give an affidavit in 15 days, they will potentially seize the property. Now, if that's not a violation of due process, not a color of law action, I don't know what is. And Brandon, your person just ran through the same thing. They're going through the same thing. That woman you're helping. Same exact process they're running.
And while we're talking about that, the order that they signed against her even states on the order that if her property's exempt, they can't take it. Right? It's asinine. That
wait, not even mention. Let me jump in this real quick. Here's the funny part that you just said that. Now watch this. How this relates to what's going on. If you read that municipal claim law, they can seize the property and sell it. Okay, that's in the law. Yet that judgment he handed down that I posted today, he said the same thing that he told your person basically. He said, "Hey, listen." The owner does not lose control of the property. He's actually got it written in there. Yet I'm holding the writ that was served that morning. It says, if you don't pay this or you don't file an affidavit, we'll come seize the property and sell it. So the judge is telling me something totally opposite than what's in the actual municipal claim law.
Oh, and that they're going to shift that blame to whoever manufactures this false title, right? That's what's going to happen. Whether it's the sheriff or whoever manufactures this deed, like the lady told you, buyer beware or whatever, they're going to shift that to somebody else. Well, our hands are clean. We didn't know if his property was exempt federally or not. But
just
again,
doing my job. I'm just doing my job.
Just doing my job. We cannot. And listen, this is the point of me bringing it into your perspective, guys. And on the Crow Show too. We've got to shift from this idea that the system is what's the problem is the people. You can look outside, you can talk to everyday Joe Blow, and you can talk to people inside these courtrooms, and you can listen to lectures by some of these judges and things of that nature. Just read some of what they write. And really what it is, even in the high seats of office here in this country, 90% of the time you're going to be running into babbling idiots, and they're not going to rock the boat. And you have to understand this from a human nature perspective. That judge goes in there and he goes against that. He rules for Alphonse. Their little Ponzi scheme is blown open. Now Alphonse, just like what Steve did it or wherever it was, I think it was Orlando, where he went around the whole little neighborhood. Well, it causes a big problem because that type of information can spread fastly. And listen, this is
So this Steve guy that you just heard about, okay? Now, most people are not aware of this because it got settled outside of court because they could not have the documents handed out. However, it got settled for $50 million. Plus, he got his house back, and the county actually had to go back in there, kick the people out that they sold it to. And due to electrical poles on that man's property, he decided he's going to go after them and won basically a judgment off the electrical company where he gets free electricity. And that, even the code enforcement, neighbors help each other. They call one another and say, we got a code enforcement fixing come through. And people go out the door and say, get out of our neighborhood. And they believe them. Why? Because they won that $50 million lawsuit. Just saying. Let's go just a little bit further and then we'll call it good.
The system has been taking 100 years to get up and running, and it's a socialist takeover. That's your free education, your health, because look, you get a tax bill, right? And it says maintained and operated county, right? And it's probably the third tier on that tax. The first is going to be education. That's why Alphonse is having so much. James is having so much pushback on his cases because he's going up against the school board. So your second line is going to be for hospitals and medical, two huge entities in this world. Listen, you got to understand that when you get into this fight, you've got to persevere through it. And James, I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
Real quick, thanks so much. Something you mentioned. Guess what? Last two hearings I had, cleared courtrooms. Nobody's in the courtroom except me. Last hearing before this, he set it aside so that no one else was in the courtroom. I'm not kidding, okay? At the end of the day, we had hearing. This one, we go in 8:45 a.m. These courts are packed down here, okay? There's nobody in the courtroom. It's me and my buddy in the courtroom. There's 3 more attorneys coming in after the main attorney. I'm thinking they're for cases coming later. No. They sent 4 attorneys to deal with me. They had boxes of stuff. So, you don't own me. Got 4 attorneys and got his own hearing. And then the judge plays his little Columbo routine and says, you look familiar to me, sir. You just set aside this separate time. You don't know who I am. You just seen me like a month ago, but you don't know who I am. BS, okay?
All right, this video is a little long. And by the way, when you actually challenge it the right way, people, they do set you aside. Like these sovereign citizens, right? They make you sit down. You guys call sovereign citizens, right? Challenge jurisdiction. They make everybody wait, make them sovereign citizens, wink, 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 until the end of the day when it's cleared out. Why? So you guys don't hear, the people in the courtroom to hear this. Because, and granted, there's some videos out there. There are some stupid people out there on this challenge jurisdiction the right way. Okay, I'm not going to say there ain't. There is really people out there that way. Okay, but they actually chase out people out of the courtroom, and like Alfonso said, they cannot have witnesses. And they cannot have this paperwork on file. Alfonso's number one deal is they're saying, well, I need the law. I need to show proof of this and this and this. However, a little bit later in life, when he finds out a bunch of stuff, he comes to find out that it's going to disappear. Unless he ends up actually up into one of the higher federal courts and win like Stevens did in Florida. Matter of fact, he's using the same tactic Stevens is out of Florida. Stevens actually helping him on some of this. So it's just going to take time. But Alfonso's going to win. And whatever he's doing, he's going to win. And whatever he's going to do, he's going to win. Because they got a bunch of good people surrounding him. Stevens out of Florida. Randy Kelton out of Texas. Awesome guy. He's the one that really teaches how to file judicial complaints and criminal complaints, right? He says file on the cops or on the judge, send it to the prosecutor, send it to the grand jury, and then send a letter making sure the grand jury sent you a letter back saying they received it. All right. Anyway, these will be the people news. Bye, y'all.